I'm so excited to share that through Executive Endurance Coaching, I've officially joined Never Second's Coach and Nutritionist program. Never Second is a science-driven performance nutrition brand built specifically for endurance athletes. I've personally been using their fueling system for years in my own training, and I love how simple, precise their approach to carbohydrate fueling is for runners, cyclists, triathletes, you name it. And today, if you want to try Never Second for yourself, our listeners can get 15% off by using the code GRIT15 at checkout. GRIT 15 at checkout. Just head to never2.com and start fueling your training with intention. This episode is brought to you by Koya Performance for Life. Koya combines wearable technology with behavioral science to help you unlock more energy and perform at the highest level. Their coaches have worked with Olympians, Super Bowl MVPs, World Series champions, and other elite performers. Their 12-week program focuses on sleep, exercise, nutrition, mindset, and recovery, blending biometric data from wearables like Oura, Whoop, or Garmin with one-on-one coaching from a team that includes a dietitian, sleep coach, movement specialist, and mental performance coach. I'll personally be participating in their March cohort and will be sharing updates with you along the way so you can hear exactly what the experience is like. Grit Files listeners today receive 33% off the program using the code AGRANDOFF. Visit koya.life to learn more. Welcome to the Grit Files. I'm your host, Laura Reynolds. Today we have EmKay Sullivan, and EmKay is a new mom to Emery. She's a professional runner for Craft, Sportswear, Never Second, and Raid, and a personal coach for Free Trail and a co-host for the Sub Hub. So just to name a few things. EmKay Sullivan, welcome to Grit
Welcome.
Files.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, I want to kind of do a quick bring people up to speed. You actually didn't start off as a runner. Your background is in swimming, if I understand correctly. So is mine. So that was always something that I thought was really cool that you had that in your background, and steeplechase,
Yes. Yeah.
and road marathoning, and then trail. So talk to the audience a little bit about the pivot from swimming to now the world of running.
Yeah. I started doing, like USA swim team. I think when I was 8 years old, when we moved to Nebraska, there was this really big swim club there. And I just was like, this is how I'm going to make friends because we moved there in the summer. And so I started swimming when I was pretty young. And like that was my life for years. And when we moved to Arkansas, I was in junior high and I don't remember exactly what my first year there, I did choir as my like elective,
We love that.
and still continued to swim in a team on a team that was like an hour away because I lived in this tiny little town.
Well, your poor
But
parents. God bless.
yeah, I know, I know my poor parents. I think
Oh,
about that all the time.
yeah.
Um, but that was seventh grade. In the eighth grade, I don't remember why, but I was like, I'm gonna try, cross country. I
Yeah.
think part of it was that it was at lunchtime, and so you got second lunch instead of having to be at first
Oh,
lunch.
it's
And so
all
I was
about the
like, I'm gonna
food.
do cross country.
You were
Yeah,
born for trail. It's about the
yeah.
food.
And so I started doing cross country and I hated it. And my
Yeah.
dad really wanted me to do it because he was like, it'll be really good for your swimming, if you can run. And I just was like, I'm so bad at this, but I did really enjoy the aspect of like getting to talk to people while I was exercising. Because when you're
Hmm.
in the pool, you're just doing
Right.
intervals and intervals and intervals.
Yeah.
And the only time you get to talk to your teammates is like maybe during dry land. But for me, I was always like suffering during dry land.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I started swimming or started running in the eighth grade. And probably until, I don't know, maybe my sophomore or junior year of high school, I was still like, running was just a supplement for my swimming. Like I was good at it, but I just like enjoyed
Right.
swimming more for some reason. But then by the time I was a junior, I realized that I was much better at running than I was at swimming. And I was getting really tired of like driving an hour to practice every day. And then
Yeah.
in the summer, doing it twice a day. And because at that point, of course, I was driving myself. My mom wasn't
Right.
driving me anymore. So then in my head, I was like, wow, this sucks
And the meets are all day. Like it is a
all day.
commitment to swim.
3 days long,
Yeah.
2 to 3 days long every time. And you do it like 2 to 3 times a month. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I think I just got tired of it after a while. And running was something that like I was actually making friends doing and talking to
Yeah.
people. And I was one of the best kids in the state, which isn't saying that much in Arkansas, but like that
There
helps the
were five of
ego.
us.
Yeah, exactly. They were there. It helps the ego, and
Right.
yeah. So I moved on full time to running. I think when I was like a junior, I still did high school swim team because my mom was like, you got to finish this out. Like you started with the
Yeah.
team, you should at least just do that. But that was easy because it was in town. And then, yeah, ended up going to college to run at the University of Nevada in Reno, which is how I ended up out here. Um, I guess did my 5 years. I actually came in as like a 10K, 5K, 10K athlete.
Yeah.
And
Ooh.
when I was a sophomore, my coach and I sat down and I was like, I really want to make it to like the Olympic trials. Like that's a goal of mine, down the road. And so we looked at times and I wanted to make it to nationals too. And it just seemed like qualifying for nationals was going to be easier in the steeplechase at the time than it was at the 10K. And so that's when I transitioned to that. And I did make it to nationals my 5th year. I was second team All American. I missed the Olympic trials that year by like 2 seconds, but
No,
super cool
not
still
2 seconds.
to like give it a go. And actually that was my 4th year. So that was fun. I like ran an unattached season and just competed on my own and tried to make the trials. But yeah, and then I guess after college, I moved to Vegas for a short period of time with my then boyfriend, now husband. And pretty much all you can do there is like road run. Like there's kind
And
of
so he's
trails,
a
but they're
runner
not that.
too. So just a little bit in
Yes.
common.
Well, so he wasn't a runner. Well, he kind of was, but he wasn't really a runner until we started dating. And my dad kind of told him, like, if you want to hang out with her, she spends a
Right.
lot of time running.
So you're really not going to get any time with her unless you're running next to her.
Yeah. And, flash forward 9 years later, and he's a professional runner as well now. So,
Oh my God.
but yeah, that's how I got into road marathoning was in Vegas. And again, it was like one of those things where I was like, I really want to qualify for the Olympic trials. Like, this is a goal of mine. And so I
Yeah.
did that in the marathon. And then shortly after that, got pretty bored with marathoning and moved on to the trail. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of just like the long-winded, like,
Yeah.
how did I end up on the trails
Yeah.
answer?
But I love because I think, I am fairly new to the trail space myself, and I kind of had that mentality that most of us have, where like there's marathon and then there's 100 milers. Like I didn't know the in between. I didn't know like the sub ultra category existed until you, Amanda, Leah, like we're starting, Danny, started to pop up, and I was like, wait, like there's an in between. You don't have to run 100 miles. Um, and you came out kind of hot in that scene. I mean, pretty quickly when you decided to lean into trail, you're top of the game trail. And I know, you had your eyes set pretty early on. And what was your first like debut trail race? Is that Broken Arrow?
My first trail race, I actually did this race that doesn't exist anymore up here in the Sierras called Sierra Crest 30K.
Okay.
And that was
Well, that's a
that
fun
was pretty
thing.
early. That was before I ran marathons even, I think. But
Yeah.
then in 2019, so before the Olympic trials, after I'd already qualified, I ran way too cool 50K for the first time actually. That was my first
Okay.
like probably real competitive trail race. And I remember I ended up fourth. I was in third like most of the day and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Anne Marie passed me with like maybe 6 miles to go. And she just passed me so hard that I was like, I'm never going to see that woman again. And she ended up finishing like 45 seconds in front of me. She just knew exactly what she was doing. But
Yeah.
I finished, Claire Gallagher won that year, and Brittany Peterson was,
Okay. Yeah.
I think, right behind me. Addie Bracy, I think, was second. But Claire went on to win Western States like, in 2020 or whatever. And I
Yeah.
was like, holy cow, that's crazy. I raced that woman.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, my first sub ultra was Broken Arrow. So I think that's part of it. Like, I would have never known that sub ultra existed really either. Cause I remember I ran way too cool. And then I was actually signed up for Lake Sonoma 50 miler in 2020
Okay.
because I was like, I'm going to try to go to Western States because that's the only thing that I really know about trail
Right.
running. Because Jess Brazeau was a coworker of mine and she was with Jim already at that point. And so I was like, oh, well, this is what Jim does. So, like, this must be what everybody does. Um, and
Well,
so I
okay.
remember
So goaling
like
is
I was,
probably a little challenging
I
then.
know, well,
Looking at Jim is like
I
the
knew
baseline.
nothing about this sport though, other than probably Jim at that point, because he
Right.
was just somebody I like knew. And yeah, so it honestly 2020 COVID was like really good for me because it just shut all that down.
Right.
And so then when I came back after COVID, Broken Arrow was like the first thing that was like happening and also close. because it's like 45 minutes from my house. And so I signed up for the 23K and had an amazing day out there. Ended up finishing second to Janelle Links, and I that was when I was like, there's got to be more of this, right? Like this was so
Right.
much fun. The 50K was fine, but like this like fast, furious 2 hour effort was like so cool.
Yeah. It's like the
Um,
perfect blend of kind of everything
yeah,
that you had done up until then.
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I know Black Canyon, this would have been what, 2024 was Black Canyon?
2024 was my first one. Yeah.
Okay. And I think at that time, were you going for course record then, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I think Rachel and I and I can't remember who else was up there with us. We were definitely on course record pace. I think
Yeah.
Rachel ended up missing it by like 30 seconds or something at the end
Yeah.
of the day, but like we were moving and grooving early.
I remembered actually because I ran that year.
Yeah.
And I ended up standing behind you in line to the bathroom, like that rinky-dink gas station.
Yes.
And you're in your like cool heart-shaped glasses, the glitter, all the things. And I didn't know. I was like new to the trail world at the time. Um, and my partner who I was with at the time was like, you know that that's MK Sullivan, right? Like she's gonna set the course record today. And I was like, oh my God, how do I act? And you
That's
just have to
funny.
pee just like everybody else, like
Yeah.
just normal.
I was
Here's
just
the
freezing
throwdown.
my butt off, like waiting for that race to start.
Right, right. Um, and you did really well, in Black Canyon. That was a race that you did well. Now, I can't remember
No,
how that
that
one
was the year that I
ended.
actually
Is that
dropped
you
out.
dropped?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, how did that feel to have the pressure of, hey, this is somebody that's coming out to set a course record and you drop? What goes through your mind in that scenario? Because I think it
I
happens
think,
a lot to people that are projected to do that. There's this overwhelming
yeah.
pressure then of you're no longer running for just you. You're running for everybody that has this expectation of she's gonna win this thing or set the course record.
Yeah. I mean, I set like pretty high expectations for myself. I think a lot of us do, but yeah, I obviously wanted that to be like, all right, MK Sullivan starts 100Ks and she just knocks it out of the park. And then it was just like this silly, stupid hole in the ground that caught my ankle. And, I was like, this is fine. This is fine. You roll your ankle all the time. But then, like 20 miles later, I'm limping and I'm like, there's no way I can make it 62 miles like this. And even if I did, like, it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
And so it was weird. I honestly was, I felt more like I was disappointing my crew than I was disappointing myself because I rolled my ankle at like mile 4. So I had 16 miles to talk myself into dropping out. So I had already like made my decision. I had come to peace with it. And then I walk up to my crew and it's the first time I've seen them and I've got a big smile on my face and I'm like, sorry guys, but I'm dropping out.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, what? Because I look fine, I'm not
Yeah.
like crying or anything. I cried plenty afterwards, but yeah, I don't know. It felt like the right decision. And I think it was because I'm just somebody that I'd rather have a whole season than finish one race, hurt and not be able to make it to the other side of that race.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it never feels good to drop out.
No.
Um,
And I think it's so much self-control in that moment too, because you do like you're kind of ingrained to want to push and to give it all you've got. And in that moment, that's like the thing that matters. You don't typically think long term. So it's great that you had the self-control to even think that far out to be like, you know what, I don't feel like having to recover from an injury for 6 months. Let's just scrap
yeah,
it. But it's interesting that you bring up the guilt around the crew because I've been on that side too, where I've been the crew, the pacer, and the runner does have this feeling of like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like they check in on me,
yeah.
the crew.
Yeah.
Like, are
It's like
you
you drove all the way down here.
right?
You flew all the way down here to help me because it was my husband and it was Helen, Faulkner. And I was just like, and like, you don't even get to do anything. I just
Right.
walk off the field. Like,
Yeah, I mean, typically, at least for me, I know what I'm signing up for. When I sign up to crew, I've been on the runner side too, so I'm like, you know what? I know I'm here all day. I
anything
know
could
I'm not going to
happen.
sleep. Like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, neither of them were like upset at all. And I'm just like,
Right.
I'm so
Like,
sorry.
let's just go have a beer. It's fine. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're out there. They've made like a trip out of it anyway, so they don't care. But
Yep.
I totally get that pressure. And I've seen it is like, oh my God, my poor crew. And the crew's just happy to see you reach a goal. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. Um, So you drop there, you train really well, everything's going pretty well, and then you go to next Black Canyon, which was your gold ticket race, right? Am I getting my timeline
I
correct?
ran canyons first. That was my
Canyon.
first golden ticket.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
and here's the new headline. This one drops and it's EmKay got the golden ticket, decides to turn it down. And then all of a sudden, everything that happened before that, it's almost like it didn't exist. You go Google EmKay Sullivan, and now all of the headline is like, she turned down this ticket that everybody wants, right? Um, and it is, it's this, everybody looks to that as like, if you're in the trail world, that is like what you aspire to do. It's either you do Western States, UTMB, Hard Rock, like that's what everybody's sights are on. But just because you should, or just because you can doesn't mean that you should with
Yeah.
something like this. And I so admired your decision to not take the ticket. Um, but I have to imagine that there's some pressure attached to that too. What were you feeling in the moments leading up to making that decision? Did you know right away? Like, was there any part of you that was like, "Ah, yeah, sure, I'll tack on an extra 40 miles to train"? Like,
Yeah.
where were we on that?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember talking to Dylan Bowman before Black Canyon. He was like, "Oh, like you're gonna get a golden ticket tomorrow. Like it's gonna be so exciting." And I was like, "Yeah, it's cool, but I'm not gonna take it." And he
And
was
you're like,
like,
shit.
"You're crazy." And I was like, "No, seriously, I'm not gonna take it." And he was like, "Whatever, MK." And obviously, then I end up dropping out. I go to canyons, um, and I do want a golden ticket. Like that's why I'm lining up. Really, I
Right.
want to win, but I want a golden ticket and but I know still going into that race that I'm not going to take it. And so, yeah, I mean, the main goal for my day was to win the race. I ended up racing Katie Scheid, and she dropped me pretty hard at like mile 15, and
Who's
never
having a
saw her
year,
again.
really? So,
Yeah, but then my goal after that was to get second place.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I knew the whole day that I wasn't going to take it, but then like when you get there and Craig hands you the ticket, you're
in
like,
your
"Oh my
hands.
gosh, wait a second, like what if this is my only chance? You know, what if this
Yeah.
is the only time I end up getting a golden ticket?" And then there's also like as a professional athlete, like realistically, like of course I'm going to take my picture with that gold or that golden ticket and
Right.
have headlines that say MK Sullivan gets a golden ticket because that's good for my brand. But I was still pretty sure that I wasn't going to take it, but I took it
Right.
home anyways because I was like, I'll talk to my coach. But I mean, I
Like it's like
remember,
literally in the corner of your bedroom, just staring you down,
yeah,
taunting you.
yeah, exactly. And there were like moments afterwards I was like, maybe I should do this because again,
Yeah.
it's like maybe this is a one and done kind of situation. Like I might never get one again. But at the same time, like I was crying the last like 15 miles of that 100K, you know,
Right.
like I was just so tired and like I was afraid that somebody was coming up behind me because my crew kept lying to me, which I'm thankful for, but like I was so afraid that I had worked so hard all day and then I was just going to lose it all in that last like
Yeah.
10 miles. And I couldn't like sit there and think like what if I did 40 more?
Oh my God. And I
Like,
don't think for people that aren't attached to this sport, like they don't really have a full concept of 40 miles is not a small thing to take on in training. Like
that's
that's a lot of
almost
training.
double.
Yes. I cannot even, I
Yeah.
can't fathom. And of course, we all have the lofty goal of doing a 100 miler, but when you break it down into how many extra miles and how you're already suffering at the end of the 100K effort, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
But also, I think in my head, like, it was like, okay, I did really well at this 100K distance, but I'd like to maybe get really, really good at it before I try to like move on
Right.
to something that's almost twice as far. Like, I don't know. It seems like it would be good to practice more at this like effort of 100K because training and racing surprisingly isn't too different moving up to 100 miles, but it's like just different enough that it feels like I could get a lot of benefit from just like hanging out at 50K to 100K and getting really good at that before moving up to a 100 mile.
Yeah. I think it's such a learning moment because, you know, just because it fits for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to fit for you. And it's the
Yeah.
pressure of that is so overwhelming, I think, at times. But to be able to take that pause and be like, but I could really sharpen this in between before I take
Yeah.
on this next thing and maybe even slam it even more, like
Yeah.
be able to have that moment to reflect when the noise is so loud of everybody telling you to take it such a
Yeah.
big move. And I appreciated the decision that you made because I think it took the pressure off a lot of us who would be in that position too, where I'm sure you're not the only one who's thinking in that way of like, God,
Yeah.
I'd love to get it. Everybody would, but I don't want to take it. You want to be invited, but you're not going to go.
Yeah. And I had an athlete actually like probably 6 months later who really was like trying to train for this 100 miler, and she was just like not, I don't know, it just like never felt like it was clicking for her, and
Yeah.
and she finally called me like probably 6 weeks out from the 100 miler. She's like, I just don't think I want to do this. She was like, I feel like it's
Yeah.
what I have to do, but I don't want to. I was like, dude, you're talking to the right person. I'm
Yes.
never gonna say you have to run 100 miles because that's
Yeah.
a crazy thing to like just be like, this feels what I have to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Totally.
know.
Totally. Which ended up being kind of a full circle moment. And the ticket that you ended up giving up went to Abby, and Abby
Yeah.
ended up winning, right?
Wait, no. Canyons. That ticket went to, I'm getting my timelines
Me
mixed up now
too.
too, because it
Me
feels
too.
like a million years ago. Who took that ticket? Anna Cassius,
That's
who's
right.
now Anna Loudon. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. No, this is Black Canyon was Abbey Hall. So, but
See,
that, yeah.
timelines are all over the place.
It's okay. Me too.
It's mom brain still. See, mine's
Yeah.
7 and I still have mom brain.
Yeah.
So speaking of the mom
Yes.
part of this, so you give up the ticket and it kind of gives you the opportunity to just look at life in a different way. And here's this new chapter of motherhood, your mom to Emery. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about rebuilding that identity, post-pregnancy, because that's such a huge thing. Even when you're not an athlete, a professional sponsored athlete, which again, there's that like pressure of what does life look like on the other side of this? Um, Talk to me a little bit about finding out that you were pregnant.
Yeah. Well, so Canyons was good in a way because then it was like, okay, I know I can get a ticket. Like,
Right.
I was saying it may not happen again, but I know I can do it. So I knew that I wanted to start a family like relatively soon, in that moment, but I wanted to get another ticket first because
Mhm.
I knew that the pregnancy deferral was so good. So yeah, I went for it at CCC, didn't work out. So I went for it at Black Canyon again, knowing full well again that I was going to take the ticket, but as you know, if things worked out, I was not going to hopefully have to run Western States. And
We're making
so
a
yeah,
career of this now.
yeah, I'm making a career of not running Western States, but um, yeah. So I got the ticket at Black Canyon, squeaked it out. We had started like trying earlier in the year, but I was like, I don't know, I'm 30, like I've never tried to get pregnant before. This could
Right.
take a while, and so yeah, I actually finished Black Canyon, went home, was just like wrecked. Like obviously 100K is far and it's,
Yeah.
like
But it's a
pretty
different kind
hard,
of
but
wreck. You stand up and you're like,
yeah, I like couldn't stay awake like the
yeah,
whole week. I was napping all day and all this stuff. And so finally I was just like, it's a little early, but maybe I'll just take a pregnancy test. Like who knows?
yeah,
And took a pregnancy test like 5 days after Black Canyon, and I was like, well, that
here we
tracks. I
go.
am
Buckle
exhausted.
up.
Like but I was like, wow, this timing could not have been better because I got the golden ticket and was like, okay, from golden ticket to Western States, because I think you can literally turn in your deferral up until like 2 days before the race or
Yeah.
something. So I was like, I have until June to get pregnant. Turns out I was already pregnant, so that worked out really well. And I was stoked. Um, but yeah, obviously I didn't turn in the deferral until I was like probably 12 weeks in because I know that people are constantly looking at that list.
Yes.
And if I just happen to like fall off the list, I'm like, people are gonna start asking me questions that I don't
New
want to
headline.
answer. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I waited until I hit the second trimester to like turn it in for real and talk to Abby, and but yeah, I mean, that was that was the plan, and it just happened to work out
Yeah.
really well. And yeah, we were stoked.
That's amazing. And now you find out you're pregnant, super exciting. It's like perfect timing. Everything's looking pretty good. But 6 months into pregnancy, you learned not only that you had Haglund's deformity, but your Achilles was torn at the insertion point. Hi. That's
Yeah,
fun.
so fun. So
What was
yeah,
it like to
probably
receive that diagnosis on top of the pregnancy, like biggest moment of your life here, and
Yeah.
get slammed with that.
My initial reaction was that I wished that I had gotten like an MRI before Black Canyon because that's when all of this kind of started bothering me. It was probably like a month out.
Right, like you
And I
had to
was
feel
like,
it.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. No, I mean, I had to stop running for a couple weeks before Black Canyon. So I knew, but I just thought it was the deformity kind of like bugging things. I
right.
didn't realize that I had, torn it. And so my first thought was like, man, if only I could have gotten surgery before I got pregnant, because now I'm like adding this whole like recovery after when maybe I could have been doing it during. And,
Right.
it's like whose life works out like that? Literally
No,
nobody's.
no, no chance. Good
So
thought
then it
though.
was just like, yeah, then it was like, I don't, because there's so much, I feel like pressure, especially now that it's more normal to be like pregnant and perform on the other side,
Yes.
to like be able to run the whole time, and like train hard and just like have this baby and then come out on the other side like
Mhm.
normal. And so I was like
Especially when
feeling
you're known for your
self-conscious.
being an athlete, like
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, I was like feeling self-conscious about the fact that I couldn't run all the way through my pregnancy because I was like, everybody runs all the way through their pregnancy, and I'm
Right.
over here just like limping around. But then it was like, I don't know, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise in a lot of ways because I think swimming and walking ended up being what made me most comfortable. And
Yeah.
also, like, I walked that baby out of my body. Like,
Yeah.
he came early, and I'm
Yeah.
convinced it's because all I could do was walk and walk and walk and walk. I
Yeah.
don't think running, like as much as it feels like it would make sense for running to like do the same thing, I think you're just so much more tense and uncomfortable
Mhm.
that yeah, I just don't think it would have worked out
You
the same
probably
way.
would have been
So
tense. You've been like, absolutely not. I'm not coming out. This feels like a high
yeah,
intensity situation.
yeah. Whereas instead I just like his head
Yeah.
just slowly came
Yeah.
down because I was just walking, walking, walking.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think, it is what it is. I cried for like 2 days because I was like, oh my God, I'm only 6 months in. I'm not going to be able to run, obviously until I'm not even going to be able to run until after I give birth. And even that might be 3 or 4 months after
Right.
that. So it was going to be like, I guess 6 to 8 months
Yeah.
total would be the timeline. And that felt just like insane to me. I've never had to take more than like maybe 6 weeks off
Yeah.
in my life. I'm not very injury prone. And so that was just like pretty devastating in the beginning. But then it was just like, whatever, it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose anything from this. So yeah,
You probably wouldn't have naturally taken that permission to rest on your own unless it was forced
exactly.
on you, and I think a lot of us are that way where unless it's like a programmed rest, you ain't
Yeah.
taking it.
Yeah.
Um, for anyone who doesn't know, just because there might be somebody out there that's having these symptoms, can you explain what Haglund's deformity is and why is it that it can be so debilitating for runners in particular?
Yeah. So it's a bone growth that it grows underneath your Achilles.
Mhm.
And I think it's mostly from like friction or like a lot of uphill pressure. I think a lot of trail runners actually deal with this because
Yeah.
running uphill just puts so much more strain on the Achilles than like maybe running marathons on the road. And yeah, a lot of people or some people can just like deal with it, if it doesn't bother you too much. Like my rule and my coach's rule has always been like, does it affect your life outside of running?
Yeah.
No, then you're fine. But once it started affecting my life outside of running, that was like I was like, okay, maybe I need to get this checked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine ended up being bad enough that it was like shaving away at my Achilles, and so I had a 15% tear like at the insertion point. But not everybody deals, with that necessarily. But like, I think Zach Miller and Andy Wacker both got their Haglunds removed, even without having a tear, because it just like
Just
when you're
nagging.
running, yeah, when you're running like 100+ miles a week, like those guys are, like it's just, yeah, it nags you. You're limping the rest of the time, and it's not worth it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so then how soon after you delivered Emery? It was pretty quick after you delivered that you're then coming back for surgery. Was it
Yeah,
5 weeks, something like that?
it was 5 weeks. Yeah, my surgeon, because obviously I went through all this like X-ray, MRI, like getting prepared stuff while I was pregnant, and he's a runner, dad of three, and
That helps.
was just like, Yeah, he was like, I think he and his wife had just had a baby the first time that I met with him. And he was like, I'll do surgery, but I'm not going to do it any sooner than 4 weeks after you give birth. He was like, I know that you're going to feel like you might as well just do it. But he was like, your life is going to be chaos
Oh
for
yeah.
at least the first month. He was like, so I won't do it until 4 weeks after. And so it's funny, like as I got closer to giving birth, I just like knew I was going to deliver early. Um, and so I remember I called the surgery center and I was like, hey, is there any way that I can move my surgery date up like a week?
The doctor
And they were
already
like,
warned them. They're like, she's gonna call. She's gonna try to
yeah.
move this up. Don't do it.
And they were like, we can put like they basically gave me two surgery dates because nobody believed me that I was going to deliver early, but
Yeah.
I just knew.
I had the same
um,
thing. I delivered mine 4 weeks early and I was like, I know she's coming.
yeah,
Trust me on this.
yeah. I was like, I'm gonna deliver like middle of October. That's just what's gonna happen. And everybody was like, no, it's your first baby. You're probably gonna be 2 weeks late. So I had two surgery dates set up. And then when I ended up giving birth 2 weeks early, I called them and I was like, give me the first one. So that was, yeah, 5 weeks post. And I am so glad I didn't do it any earlier because it
Yeah.
was so hard. I was in a cast for the first 2 weeks. And so Emery was only 5 to 7 weeks old. And we actually were very lucky. He's a great sleeper. But
Yeah.
even still, like having to get up once or twice in the middle of the night with my cast and like go in there. I mean, my husband helped as much as he could, but like I was still breastfeeding at that
Yeah.
point, and it was like it was rough,
Well, and
especially
showering
because
with a cast, like, and
oh
figuring out
God,
a like, it's a whole thing.
yeah. Well, and just having the time to try to shower in a
Yes.
cast
Oh,
because like he's not sleeping at that much at that point. It was it was wild, and also like trying not to stress about the way that I'm sleeping and trying to recover.
mhm.
Like I'm just like in my head, I'm like, am I sleeping enough to recover from this surgery? And
Yeah.
it's like you can't even think about this. This is the decision that you made.
Yep.
So just like let it go and do the best that you can, like with what you have.
Well, and especially with it being your first child, like you didn't know what you didn't know. So you didn't know
Yeah,
how often you're going to have to get up and actually be mobile. You didn't know that
yeah,
you're going to have like these weird pockets of time to be able to do things.
yeah.
So again, it's probably a blessing that you didn't know what you were getting in for because you'd be like, absolutely not.
I'm not doing that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like learning how to, because I had like a peg leg. I didn't use crutches because I was like,
Good
there's
luck.
literally no way I can function
Yeah.
with this baby. And so I had like a peg leg. So trying to figure out even just like the balance of like walking with a peg leg with a baby in my
And
arms,
dogs.
like just
You
little
have
things.
dogs
Yeah, it's
too.
just, yeah. Oh my God, the dogs were hating me because I
Yeah.
just like couldn't do anything for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, And it goes back to your original point where this is the stuff that you almost wish this was normalized much more so that you didn't feel alone in it. You didn't feel like you're the only peg leg in the world who's having to navigate this
yeah,
situation. You're not the only one who had to deal with surgery on top of having a child. Um, and that whole like bounce back mentality, I just absolutely loathe because I feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice to put it out there that should be the expectation when like you don't get these moments back. It sounds silly, but like you really don't get these moments back to just sit and enjoy your baby and your new
yeah,
normal. And I wish
yeah,
the world were more accepting of that because you really like those are such magical moments where you get to see a baby laugh, get to see them roll over. And like when you were so fixated on, am I going to be able to do sit-ups? Am I going to be able to run? It
yeah,
makes it impossible to see that. And then you regret that you missed it, and
yeah.
that part nobody talks about. So, um, I kind of love that you had a forced shutdown because
It
it,
was,
yeah,
yeah, just me sitting on the couch with my legs up and Emery in my lap for like 2 whole weeks, like not being able to do much more than that. It was very good, I think, for both of us.
yeah,
Um, but also like, it's funny when I posted on Instagram that I ended up having surgery, the amount of women that are either moms already or even like women who aren't moms but just know enough about the female body were like, sick. Well, at least now you won't get a stress fracture.
yes,
Like,
yeah.
and it's so right because I remember like before I got surgery, I remember asking my coach, like, is there any way I could like try a run walk? I feel pretty good. And that was
Of
like
course.
3.5 weeks after giving birth. And
Yes.
my PT told me, I think when I was 3 months out from birth, so like a little less than 2 months out from surgery. She's like, MK, most people aren't even cleared to run until 4 months post birth. Like, you need to
Well, and you
like
hear
just
four
be
months and you
patient
like
with
start
yourself.
short circuiting. You're like, 4 months,
Yeah.
what? How on earth?
Yeah. So it's like, it was probably the best thing for me in a lot of ways because I had to chill for baby, but also for my own health.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, based on my like Strava and Instagram sleuthing, because that's what we do, to try to figure out how everybody's getting back to normal, you got back into your roots of like swimming again and walking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what did it feel like to accept that that was going to be the new normal for a while?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was fortunate because I started swimming when I was pregnant,
Yeah.
like when I had to stop running. And so it became something that it was like, oh, I get to do this instead of like, oh, I have to do this because
Right.
I've had surgery, right? So it's like, when I gave birth, I was like, I was very ready to get into the pool like as soon as I could because I was just like, my body is so uncomfortable. Like, that's something I feel like we don't talk
Oh
about
my
is like
God.
how awful post birth is.
Yeah.
Like, giving birth was one thing, like, whatever. Actually didn't have that bad of a time. Post
Yep.
birth was terrible. I
Yep.
hated it. I
Hear
felt
that.
so foreign in my own body.
Mhm.
And so, like, I was
And
like,
you're
I
like a
just want to get
prisoner
in the
to it in
pool.
a way.
Yeah.
Like no one talks about that. Like I breastfed too, but no one
Yes. You're
talks
a
about
prisoner to
that.
your breastfeeding chair.
Yes. And like the timing of it. And like you feel guilty thinking that because you're like, God, I
Yeah.
brought this human into the world and how lucky am I to be able to get to
Yeah.
do this? But
Yeah.
both can be true. You can get to do it and feel really
I'm
lucky.
trapped.
Yeah, you're like, God, I just want to go to dinner without like my boobs exploding. What's the, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, people don't talk about that.
No. And so, like, getting in the pool was just such like it was like Emery was there. I took him to the pool with me, and he would sleep on the side of the pool. But it was like a moment for me to just like be alone
Yeah.
in a way and like still get to exercise because I am a freak type A runner that needs to like move. And so it felt good to move without like discomfort. Because even walking, I was trying to focus so hard on like keeping my core tight, keeping
Yeah.
my glutes activated, like because it's amazing for how long your body is just like numb in a
Yeah.
way. And so swimming was like, yeah, a way for me to exercise without having to focus on all that stuff. And also like it's exhausting. Like I get done swimming and I'm like, I could take a nap, which I
No.
am not a napper, so swimming's good for that.
Yes. And I don't know about you, but I get starving. When I swim, I am like
Yes.
ravenous with
Yeah.
eating. So it's probably
Yeah.
helpful in the breastfeeding space because he needs it too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
So yeah, swimming, I mean, was an awesome addition. I remember when I texted my coach Rick when I first stopped running and I was like, man, I wish I had the motivation to swim because that would probably be really good for me.
yeah.
And I did it like once or twice. And then I was like, okay, Rick, I'm gonna be a swimmer now, actually.
Yeah.
Like I just had to like start swimming. And then
Yeah.
once I did, it was like, okay, this is better than the stationary bike because I'm actually like moving. Like I'm still like in just this 25-yard pool, but I'm like moving in a forward direction instead of just staring at the TV.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I remember when I had Emerson, similar name, but
Yes.
I had Emerson and I was kind of the same way. I felt very foreign in my body. I was never like, I don't know, even just having like a loose skin. I was like, this, I don't love this. What can I do to show her that she can do hard things? What can I do to get back to what feels like normal for me? And I signed up for a triathlon. And that was kind of where I was able to cross train and get away from just running. And yeah, it was amazing to just have that like time to yourself and to train in the pool. And she plopped right there, right next to me, same deal.
Yeah.
Um, and it was nice to have that escape and time back. Um,
Yeah.
I know that you've said that motherhood has taught you lessons about yourself that running never could. What were some of those lessons that having Emery and having this experience has taught you that, an endurance effort maybe hadn't up until this point?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's just like a good reminder that running isn't everything.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, running is my job, it's my passion. But I haven't had it in a while. But I don't like, obviously, I miss it and I'm very ready to get back to it. But having this other thing that's like much more important and fragile and beautiful, I think just kind of like puts everything into perspective. It's like, Yeah, I'm going through an injury right now. Yeah, I may not race, at the level that I want to until the fall, but like, who cares, Like, I get to raise this like really cool thing. Um, I don't know. It's just like, it's so cliche to be like, everything changes. But
It does
like,
though.
your perspective is so different. I think just being on the other side and like having to literally keep something alive. It's like one thing to keep a dog alive. They're very easy. You just feed them food in the morning and like let them out to go to the bathroom. But this thing like relies on me
Yes. Yeah.
to for everything, to eat, to like poop, to I
Mhm.
don't know, sleep. Like he can't do really anything without me, especially now that he's at the point where he thinks he wants to move,
Yeah.
but he can't unless I'm involved. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just like it makes everything. I think it'll be fun to race because everything will feel less important in a way.
Yes.
Like there's less pressure because it's like, maybe I do have a bad day, but like I still have a kid that I get to go home to and like take care of and have fun with. Like
Yeah.
maybe I have an awesome day and like I still get to go home to Emery and take care of him and love him. And so it's like, I don't know, life's just different now, but in like a really cool way.
Yeah, it's like your why shifts a little bit. It also sounds a little bit cliche, but it really does. It's like
Yes.
pressure off, and you're like,
Yeah.
I get to come home, and really, no matter what type of day I had out there, I could have thought that I
He's
blew up
gonna
to be
think I'm
my,
awesome.
yes, he's gonna think you're amazing. Well, mine's gotten to the age now where
Yeah.
if it wasn't a podium, she's like, why did you do it?
Why'd you do it?
I'm like, wow, okay, we've
Right
got
now he thinks I'm cool no matter what.
right.
So
Hang on to that because I mean, every time I finish a race now, Emerson's like, "So did you get first?" I'm like, "No. Why don't you ask me if I had fun? Because that I
I
did.
got
I had a
I
lot of
got
fun."
first for me,
Right.
okay? I
Right.
won my race.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's so cool to just have them see you do a hard effort, and that becomes the new why. Is like you are creating a mentality for them that anything that they want to go out and do, they have the ability to try. And whether you
Yeah.
win, whether you lose, you blow up, whatever, like it's different to do something for somebody else versus it's all about you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like there's more important things. So
Absolutely.
whatever day you happen to have, like you
Yeah,
just that's the day you have.
yeah. And same with a job too. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. Um, I know that you have a partner, like we talked about in this space too. Um, want to talk a little bit about what it looks like to support each other in this sport and how do you balance that? Because it's one thing to not be the one that's in it and support somebody who's doing it, but when you're both doing it, because there's a couple of people that I could think off the top of my head that are in that same position, how do we manage our time? How do we support each other fully, but also you're available to be mom and dad?
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see. I feel like once I start running quite a bit, we're really gonna have to like shift our schedules.
Mhm.
We're very lucky because both of our parents live here in Reno and
Yeah.
like they are a lot of help. Like, my mom goes to the pool with me. Emery sleeps a lot of the time, but sometimes he'll wake up and she'll get out and like rock him while I continue to swim, and then she'll
Yeah.
get back in the pool. So like we're lucky in that way, but one of the things is that we probably won't get to run the same race for
Okay.
a while, which is fine. Like I think that's better for us anyways, because anytime we're running the same race, we're way too concerned about like what the other person is going
Right.
through. Um, but like, planning this year, for example, I'm not planning to race until June, but like it's like Tommy's gonna run a race and I'll go support. And then hopefully in June, I'm running Mont Blanc Marathon, he's running the Mont Blanc 90K. So we're racing on separate days. And like, one of us takes care of the kid and cruise, then
Yeah.
the other one takes care of the kid and cruise. Um, and so that is probably how we'll have to schedule our races until we get to the point where we feel comfortable with Emery just like staying with his
Yeah.
grandparents for like a week at a time, which I'm just not ready for that yet,
Oh, I'm still
emotionally.
not. I'm still not ready.
Yeah. And so, but at the same time, like our parents are super into the idea, like they want to come to the races, help us
Yeah.
out, like all
Love
that
that.
stuff, which is nice. When it comes to training, like honestly, right now I'm doing so much stuff inside that I
Mhm.
feel like we haven't had to like figure out the balance yet. But once I start like training, Like we're going to have to decide like, okay, who runs in the morning, who runs in the
Yep.
afternoon? What days do we get to run together and maybe drop him off with the grandparents?
Yeah.
Um, which I'm already starting to like kind of do that because on Saturdays, on the weekends, I want to run outside for my run walks because I'm tired of the treadmill. And
Yeah.
so
Oh my
like
God.
I'll drop Emery off with his parents or my dad will come to wherever I am and he'll walk Emery while I run because Tommy's obviously like doing his long run on
Yeah.
Saturdays. Um, and so yeah, I mean, we've kind of been avoiding having to like schedule things because there's even like Emery's not sleeping as well on the side of the pool. So I've been like, maybe I should wake up early and go swim while you're still at the house before you go to work. But I like just can't convince myself to
I
wake up
know.
early. So
I
I'm still
know.
just like forcing the poolside nap. So we haven't totally figured it out yet, but I mean, he's super supportive and we're very good at like scheduling stuff like that anyways. And so I'm sure we'll figure it out.
You've got a plan. It's already a plan. Um, that's awesome. And to your point about the tread, if I have to do, and I think I saw a post from you not too long ago about how Stranger Things was getting you through your bike rides, and I am living for Stranger Things on my long tread runs
Yeah.
because it's eternal winter here. We have not been able to do a
Oh
trail
my
ride
God. Yeah.
here in like 2 months. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. And what
I
season
can,
are we on?
I'm on season, I'm almost done with season four. It's
Me
funny because
too.
I think I
Yeah.
finished, like, I watched one, two, and three, like,
Yeah.
when they came out,
Yeah.
like, binge them or whatever. And then I was like, man, we don't watch much TV at our house. Like, we're definitely the people that before we had a baby, we just like watched our dogs do
Right.
things. And now we just watch Emery do things. And so now I'm at this point where I'm like, God, I really want to know what happens at the end of
Me
this
too.
season, but I have to save it for the bike because I need something for the bike. Like, treadmill, I can kind of just suffer through it.
Yeah.
But like on the bike, if I'm not watching TV, I will get off after like
Yep.
20 minutes.
See, we have to
So,
normalize this too. Like we also struggle to get through the long
oh,
tread runs, the long bike rides. Nobody's
yeah,
loving this. No one's
nobody's
loving
loving
it.
it, which is why I've enjoyed the pool because I don't need the
Yeah,
distraction in the same way. But yeah, the Stranger Things is really carrying me at the moment.
same. Hard
Yeah,
same.
it's just stressful enough that I can actually get my heart rate up on the bike
Yeah.
because otherwise I'll just kind of like sit there and spin.
And I'm almost wondering now if that was your inspiration for the mullet. Like it's maybe Dustin. Maybe that was
I
your.
was I was just thinking the other day because I'm like I went mullet to now I'm like growing it back out into a
Yeah.
shag and I in season four Nancy has like the best
Yes.
shag
Yes.
haircut and I'm like this is my goal. This is what we're going for.
I feel a Halloween costume coming. Like that might be,
Yeah.
it might be Stranger Things themed. And I'm gonna take credit for it if I see it on social
All
media.
right.
Like I caught this.
Perfect.
Um, when you look at everything that you've navigated, elite competition, injury, surgery, pregnancy, motherhood, what part of your story are you most proud of that people might never see on social media or, they might not see in a race result?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just really proud of my patience. I'm not somebody who's like very good at not being able to do what I want because I've never really been somebody who's been injured before. But I feel like I've handled this period of my life a lot better than I imagined I would. Like, I don't know, even now that I'm running and it feels like this run walk progression is taking forever, I'm just like, this is just what life is, you know? And I think it's because I do have a lot of friends who have suffered injuries that have kept him out for like a year, or like even my friend Helen, she literally didn't run for 2 years and like is now still an elite athlete. And it's just like, and I also just I have a great coach who, um, I don't know, I just never doubt that he can't get me somewhere.
Right.
And so I think I have enough confidence in my training, my years of training at this point to just know that, like, I don't know, fitness doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
I've got years of banked training and it's not like I'm not training, you know, I'm still like swimming
No.
and biking like an hour to 2 hours most days. And so it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just feeling less impatient and less
Mm.
emotionally dysregulated than I would have been in the
Yeah.
past without running. And so, yeah, I'm very proud of myself. Feels like I've grown up in a lot of ways for that. Yeah.
But I think it's really appreciated. At least I can say personally, I appreciate when it is an elite athlete who shares that they're in a moment of rebuilding and becoming a different version of what they were, before the injury or before pregnancy,
Yeah.
because it's a real thing. Everybody's experiencing some level of that or some level of like they're stuck, and
Yeah.
maybe even at just a hard training season. I think it's so beneficial for an elite athlete to share that journey because then it normalizes the conversation. Then
Yeah.
us regulars out here are like, oh, thank God. I'm
Yeah.
not expected to bounce back really fast after an injury and run 10 miles the next month. So I appreciate the transparency around it.
Well, and one of my biggest pet peeves is when like professional runners, like people who know better, like talk about like losing fitness or like, oh, like I
Yeah,
had to take two weeks off, like I'm just got to build back into my fitness. And it's like, shut up.
I
Like
know.
we know that that's not how physiology works. Like,
Yeah.
and so that is like that drives me absolutely insane because people look to those people and they're like, oh wow, like they're losing fitness for this like
Yes.
2 week period of time that they
You're
had
like,
to
oh,
take
I
off.
guess I'll
That's
just go
crazy.
give up then because I'm
Yeah.
like,
And it's like, I'm sorry, like, no way. Like my co-host Danny Moreno, she broke her foot at OCC in October of 2024
remember that.
and like had to take like 3 or 4 months off. And was biking some, but wasn't biking a ton because she wanted her foot to heal. And um like she absolutely smashed Broken Arrow like 2 3 months after starting to run again.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't do that if your fitness is gone, like
Right.
that's
You
just
also don't do
yeah.
that unless you force the rest and recovery that you need. Like, I
Yeah.
think, this whole idea of hurrying up the recovery process,
Yeah.
you can't really prepare as best as possible for your best effort or your next effort unless you really do force some sort of recovery and rest. And it's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. Rest is work too. Recovery is work too. Um,
Yep.
so I love that you are blowing up that conversation and making it more visible to everybody, because it makes it more attainable. Like it doesn't seem so impossible.
Yeah. No, I mean, you just got to trust in the years that you've built up until that point.
Yeah. For anyone who is maybe experiencing a season of they just don't want to do it, or it's a shift, they're getting, it's a first pregnancy or they're getting over an injury, what's a message that you want to share with somebody in that position just to have them get through?
I mean, I would say just give your body space and time. Our bodies are incredible, whether you're pregnant and like you can't run or you're just like kind of injured and you can't run. Like if you just give your body the space and time to actually heal, it will. The more you push it, I mean, stress is stress, and I think people forget that a lot of time, whether it's physical stress, emotional stress, like it's not you're not going to heal if you're stressing about it. And so yeah, just give yourself space. You have time always.
Yeah.
Like our lives are so, I don't know, I feel like we think of a year as such like a long period of time, but in the grand scheme of things in our journeys, like it's so short.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just give yourself space.
I love that. I love that. MK, it has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate the transparency and authenticity that you have in all of your messaging around shifts that have happened in your life. And I agree with you. Like, I think that your level of patience is so awesome because it's not a skill that a lot of us in this space have.
Still working on
So
it.
we all are.
Yeah.
Um, but I love that's the messaging, and I think more people should really take pride in owning those moments in life so that we all could benefit and take the pressure off of each other. So I appreciate you being one of the people that does that, and I'm really excited to see what's next for you. Not pressure. That can be another
Yeah.
baby. It could be like I'm really excited to see how Emery takes to this too. Like he's going to be the best little crew in the future, and
Oh God, he's gonna love it.
oh my gosh. And they're so malleable
Yeah.
right now that like because he's growing up in this endurance space, he's got two crazy fit parents who are in this endurance space. This is going to be like a normal for him. He's going to be like, "Oh, what did your weekend look like?"
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to like get to the point where I can push him around in the stroller and run because he like loves going on walks in his stroller. And so yeah, once I can like run confidently on my own for a while, like I'm excited to bring him along with me.
It's so much fun. And I mean, that's probably why I was early because he's already been running and he'll probably
Oh,
be either running, swimming, something. My child's legs still are this. And that was how she was
yeah.
when I was pregnant, and
Yep.
that hasn't stopped. So, so he's probably
Yep.
going to be the same. Well, welcome to parenthood. It's such a fun and amazing and magical chapter, and I'm so excited to see how that plays out in your running world and to see what things are next for you. But love the conversation, and hopefully we'll have you back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.